Thanks very much. I'm delighted to be here with you this morning to talk about how you can plan your career and how you can create a path for yourself so that you can experience the best experience in building your own career path. And really, what that starts with is something we call resiliency. And it's about building within yourself the ability to manage and plan and deliver on your own career aspirations and determine what your career goals are. And when we talk about resiliency, it really means a number of different things. And some of us have skills in some of these areas, and for others there's development opportunities. But really what it means is thinking about, are we able to manage change in our life? Whether that's talking about it from a professional or personal standpoint. But being able to manage change is key to having a strong resiliency. Our lives are constantly changing, as we all know, and not only our personal lives, but our work lives as well. If you look at your career, leading your own career, that means determining what it is that you have a passion for. What is it that you want to do in life? What's going to make you get up first thing in the morning and say, yes, today's going to be a great day? It's about planning your career for yourself and what's going to make you happy in life. Cultivating your inner resources. All of us have resources that we can draw on within ourselves. It's really understanding what those resources are, and let's strengthen those so that we can be as resilient as we can be. Continuous learning. I know that all of you who've been in school recently have been hearing this, and those of us that work in the workforce know that an important element of success in any career is a commitment to continuous learning. All of us have to continue to learn as we go through life, and it's part of what the life cycle is all about. Understanding yourself as a commodity. All of us are commodities, especially when it comes to career planning and determining what it is that you would like to do with your career. So position yourself so that you have that strength in terms of your own commodity, and that will build your resiliency. The next one is really important. Nurture your own well-being. Nothing is more important in life than your well-being and the well-being of your family. So make sure that you take care of yourself. Do what you have to do to be strong physically and mentally, and make sure that you nurture that inner being within you. And another important point is about creating a support network. None of us get through life on our own. We all need the strength of our family, of our friends, of our professional relationships. All of those things help to make us stronger and give us that enormous strength and resiliency that we need. So if we move on to what we mean by creating a career plan, it's really a number of steps, and it's a process that we use. And you notice that when you look at this process, it's actually circular so that it doesn't stop, it continues as we continue to grow and develop throughout our lives. And in the center of this process is probably the most important point, and that's that we all have to have career conversations. So each point within the process depends on the kind of conversations that we have, the richness of those conversations, the self-reflections that we have, and the feedback that we gain from others. All of those things make it important for us to build a successful career plan. And you'll notice that there are 4 steps to this process. There's self-assessment, there's defining your career goals, there's action planning, and finally, you're finalizing your career plan. If we look at them individually, and we start with self-assessment, that's the most important place to start. Because you need to think about yourself. You need to provide yourself time and space to explore and gather feedback and reflect on who you are as a person. And you gather that information from your own self-reflection, but also from your friends, from your families, from your teachers, from your peers. And as you gather that information, you start to reflect. You listen, you pause, you act on building yourself a plan that will help you as you engage in more conversations. The action planning piece takes part after you've done this self-exploration, this reflection, and this information gathering from others. And this helps you then to build your career goals, determine what your strengths and the opportunities for development are. And then once you do that, you can start to have conversations again with others about finalizing that plan. And then the fourth step is actually developing the final plan. Talking to teachers and friends provides you with greater insight into your own potential. It allows you to reflect on the feedback that you get from others. And it gives you an opportunity to think about your goals, what your strengths are, what your opportunities are. And an output of all of this is an action plan that helps you get there. Seems like a lot of work, doesn't it? But it's really important work, and it will get you to the point where you will know what passions you have in life and how you will pursue those. So let's break it down a little bit more. When we talk about self-assessment, what do we mean by that? Well, what we're really talking about is a process of gathering information about yourself so that you can start to make some informed decisions. A self-assessment should look at many things, including your values, who you are as a person, the interests that you have in life, not just work interests, but things you like to do for fun. Takes a look at your personalities and what skills would you bring. The reason why it is so important is because it really helps you improve your own understanding of who you are, of the skills that you have, the characteristics, and what it is that you're going to bring to the career that you're planning. You really, if you think about it from a sales perspective, and I happen to work in a sales industry, you really can't sell something unless you totally understand what that thing is. And so in a way, you're selling yourself when you're planning your career. Self-assessment and self-exploration is critical to helping you think through what you not only want, but what you need as a person. It's an opportunity to be completely honest about yourself and about what's important to you both inside and outside of work. So if you think about how that process might work of self-assessment, you would ask yourself direct questions and ask those questions of your peers and your family. Give yourself time to think about that feedback. How will you integrate that feedback into your plan? And most of all, you have to be honest about yourself, not just about what you need to improve on, but really what your great skills are. And all of us have great skills. Sometimes we don't think in those terms. We think about our gaps, but we don't necessarily think about our strengths. Think about what you're great at, and how can you leverage that great skill that you have. So this is a bit of a worksheet that we have that helps us when we are asking some of those important questions, particularly around things like personal and professional goals. You know, what motivates me and really drives me to achieve? What work do I enjoy the most, and what interests me? What would be my ideal job? This is a time to really blue sky and think about what could be. Think about your passion, what it is that you really like to do. If we think about values, what do we mean by that? What's really important to me as a person? What are my needs and my priorities? What life stage am I at? We're all at different points in our life stage, and we need to think about that. How will where I'm at in my own stage impact my career and the way I want to approach the work that I do? Am I thinking about planning a family? Am I thinking about returning to school in a few years? Am I looking at retirement a few years down the road? Those are all questions that you'll need to ask yourself about life stages. Strengths. What are my capabilities? What are my strengths? How can I leverage those to be more successful? How do I demonstrate excellence? How do I show people that I have what it takes to do the job? And of course, in areas of development, how can I improve? What can I do differently? What would my key capabilities be that would really shoot me to the next level so that I could be the best that I could be? When you're thinking about this, how aligned are these 4 areas to my own personal goals and values and where I'm at in my life stage? The other thing that it's important to think about is your professional brand. And when we talk about brand, we can talk about personal brand or we can talk about corporate brand. Think about some of the companies that you know of. Companies like Nike, McDonald's, Apple. What kind of words come to mind when you think of those companies? Do you think of quality? Do you think of trust? Do you think of value? Those are all important statements that are tied to a corporate brand. And what you're doing when you create your career plan is you're creating your own professional brand. And each of us have one of those. So when you think about products and marketing brands, think about those same qualities and how they might apply to a professional brand, about who you are and what you do says about who you are. Think about people that you admire and that have had an impact on your life, either positively or negatively. What is their brand? How do they face the world? And what are the qualities that you see in them? When you think about who you are and how you present yourself, that's your brand. That's how you present yourself to the world. And if you want to know what your brand is, ask people how they would describe you. Ask your friends, ask your teachers, ask colleagues how they would describe you. And that description will be your personal brand. That's how other people see you. You can change that brand, and based on the feedback you get, you can decide what areas that you want to strengthen and how you want to make your brand stronger. Let's talk a bit more about professional brand and what we mean. And why is it important, really? Because the words you choose, your body language, and the tone of your voice are all aspects of your professional brand. So coming into a room and meeting people for the first time, people will automatically clue into your professional brand. So it's thinking about even those things as you're thinking about who you are and how you want to portray yourself. So in body language, in words, and in the tones that you use in your words, you're sending messages about who you are. And that could be, do you show that you have confidence, that you have skill, that you're trustworthy, that you're competent, that you're motivated? The other messages you could send about how you work with others. Are you interested? Are you showing value? Do you approve of the work that's being done? Are you respectful? Do you support others? And the kind of work that you deliver. Is it quality? Is it something the group is interested in? Does it show that you have skill, employment? Are you serious about your work, and are you focused on your work? Each one of these skills, if you will, indicates a piece of your professional brand. And altogether, it becomes a summation of how you present yourself to others. So that's what we mean by professional brand and how we present ourselves. So let's take a little closer look about professional brand. And in terms of self-assessment, how do I present myself to others? Do I present my ideas and my work with confidence? Do I speak too softly? Do I get defensive if someone disagrees? Am I pleasant, or am I dismissive or aloof or arrogant? Do I dress appropriately? Those are all questions that you might ask yourself in talking about how you present yourself. How do others perceive me? Do they seek out my company? Do they ask for my advice? Do they have a pleasant interaction with me? Am I misunderstood? Are they excited by my contribution? These are all questions you might ask yourself as well. In terms of how well do I build relationships? What are my strengths in building relationships? How do I connect with people? Through my sense of humor? Through passion with people? Am I calm in a crisis? In my best interaction, how do I engage with others? What would be my peers or my teachers or my mentors? What would they consider to be their best interaction with me? And finally, in terms of self-improvement, what can I do to improve my interactions? Where can I improve? What would my peers or professors or mentors say are my greatest opportunities to improve? What are the key presentation gaps that I need to close in order for others to perceive me as I want to be perceived? These are all important questions that we can help ourselves as we build our own professional brand and decide what it is about us that we want to change and maybe do a little differently. So as we move back to the process of defining your career goals, one of the stages that we need to take some time is around reflection. And reflecting on the self-assessing that you've done and understanding where you are in the life stage, where you see yourself, not only today, but where do you see yourself 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now? Where would you like to be in your career? What would you have liked to have accomplished? These are all important aspects of your career that you need to think about now as you're starting to plan. Some of the things that you need to talk through with yourself is, what kind of courage do I have to pursue the career that I want to? Can I accept feedback from others? Can I make changes in my career path based on how external influences are meeting me? In meeting new people, how can I identify who can help me make it happen? Do I have the courage to ask for help sometimes? Do I have a mentor? Mentors are really important for career success. And all of us that have been in careers for a long time, and I can think about people who have helped me along the way and have been great mentors for me. So mentors can be informal or mentors can be formal. But having a mentor who helps you step outside of your comfort zone, who gives you really great balanced feedback, is really important to help you move to the next step in your career. And I'd encourage everyone to seek out mentors. Support from your teachers. Do you get the support that you need from teachers to help you in your career pathing? Or your friends or relatives? Do you have the perseverance that it's going to take? Long-time career aspirations take a long time. And sometimes we all live in an instant world where we want something right away. And sometimes the career plan you have may be long-term. Do you have that persistence to continue, however long that might take? Are you willing to make trade-offs? Sometimes we have to trade off. We're not always able to do what we want to do. We may have to move to have the job that we want to have. We might decide that we want to have a family, and that may slow down our career path for a short time. So there are a number of things that could take us off track. Are you willing to make those trade-offs? Are you willing to look at other development opportunities? So perhaps not specifically in your career plan, but something to get you to another level that would give you a different experience. Sometimes those are very valuable. And are you willing to do the training it takes? Because once you start on a career path, that training has to continue. Learning is lifelong, and you have to make a commitment to continue to learn and train as you go through your career plan. If you don't, you're not going to stay on top of the career market, and it's really an important piece. So if we move along and we talk about what's next in defining your career goals, we really need to think about researching. And when you research, you're researching for a number of things. Not only your own career goals, but you want to do some research about some of the companies. You want to think about, is there a specific company that you want to work with, or is there a specific industry that you want to work with? If you're looking at companies, take a look at that company. What are some of their business objectives? What are some of the challenges that they have in the market? How are they situated competitively with other companies? Why would you want to work for them? What kind of programs does that company have in place that's going to make them a good employer for you? Have they been recognized as an employer of choice? Do they have strong accommodation policies? Would they be able to support you, not just down the road, but from day one on? Those are all things that you need to think about. Are you focused on developing into a specific destination role or just a certain type of work? That will help you determine the direction that you might want to go as well. So another area that we may want to take a look at is when you're looking at your goals, you need to explore a little bit, well, what are some of the development opportunities that you might look at as you look to achieve your career goals? And we have a little demonstration here of career goals really being met through a number of different ways. They may be through job enrichment, where you're focused on making your role more challenging by leveraging your knowledge and expertise in different ways. And enrichment is really a great way to stay on top of changes that are happening within an organization. So being offered the opportunity to do some job enrichment is a great idea, and one that as an HR professional would certainly recommend. Job shadowing, being able to work side by side with someone to gain new experience, is a great opportunity as well. I mentioned mentoring. Mentoring is so critical for success because another person will help you navigate through a company, will help you get the skills, the knowledge that you'll need to be successful, and will help you to manage relationships within that company. Lateral moves. Many people don't focus on lateral moves and see a lateral move as perhaps not moving forward in your career plan, but actually lateral moves are great opportunities to broaden your depth of experience, your skill sets, to build new relationships with people within the organization, to learn more about the work that your company does, so that you're well positioned when it's time for promotions, and that you have that wider breadth of knowledge that you need in order to move to the next level in the organization. And upward movement. Advancement occurs when your talents are in demand by an organization and that company sees the opportunity to develop you to the next level. Other ways are through volunteer work. Volunteering in the community is a great way to leverage and build on your skill sets. Also build relationships with community groups and helps your professional and the corporate brand as well. Co-ops and internships are always a great way to learn about companies, and it gives you an opportunity to try on the company, if you will, and the company to have you come, and you can both have a look at each other and decide if you want to have a long-term relationship with this company by coming to work for them on a permanent basis. So co-ops or internships are a great way to learn more about companies, to get some job experience, and to help you build your own professional resume. So the next step we're on to now is action planning. And really, this is when you're getting down to actually building your career plan. And you want to be, in this time of your career planning, you want to be really specific and make some really smart objectives. And of course, we all know that SMART means specific, measurable, attainable, results-oriented, and time-bound. So you want to get very, very succinct about what it is that you're going to do and some timelines around how you're going to do that and by when. So this is when you start building on your networking, you start doing some informational interviews, some job shadowing, you're looking at volunteer work, you're learning more about companies, you're deciding what company would you like to work for and why. How is that company positioned in the marketplace at the moment? Is it a good time for them to be hiring? All of those things come into play when you start talking about the action planning piece of it. And you can see that you want to start thinking about what are some of the experiences and activities that are going to provide me with the opportunities that I need. And what do I expect the outcome of those activities to be? And then finally, what support tools will I need to help build these activities to make them as strong as they can be for me? Identifying our strengths, understanding what are our primary 2 or 3 strengths and what are our areas for development opportunities. These will help us determine what our action plan should look like. And finally, you put this all together in a one career brand. And you're talking about your professional brand. What do I want to be known for as a person? You want to talk about your strengths and opportunities for development. What experiences and skills do I have that I can leverage? You want to talk about your career goals. What is it that I want to achieve in my work? What is it that I want to stand for at the end of my career? Can I look back and say, this is the person that I wanted to be and I've achieved those goals? And how will I contribute to that career goal? And how am I going to get there from here? What steps can I take? What networks do I need to build? And what skills do I need to develop? All of these together become your career plan. And this is what it would look like if you started to build it. And you can use a simple template like this, or you can build your own template, but it's an important process to go through to help you think through the steps. So what's your role in all of this? You have the most important role to play. You need to know yourself. That's the first thing. Know who you are, what it is that you love, what are your passions in life. What don't you like to do? Make sure you know that as well. Nobody wants to get stuck in a job that they don't like because it's not their passion. And there's nothing harder than getting up and going to work every day to a job you don't like. So find what you love to do, and you'll, as they say, you'll never have a job if you love what you do. Focus on your uniqueness. What's special about you? And what are your accomplishments? What can you give to others? Understand the current employment environment, and I know that we're in challenging times at the moment, but as we know, these times are cyclical, and they will pass, and things will turn around, and it will get better. So think about that too when you're thinking longer term. Have lots of conversations. Talk to lots of people, and seek feedback from them. Ask them how you do in certain situations. Ask them what they think your skills are. Ask them where they think you need to develop. Get lots of feedback from them. And take that feedback in the spirit that it's given, that it's going to help you. Know the business. If you're interested in a particular area of business, know that business well. Understand companies that work in that business. How can they help you to achieve your long-term goals? Because that's what it's all about. It's about you and you building your own career plan. And then finally, it's actually sitting down and creating that plan. So that's it for this session.